So let's go into the reality of our classrooms. And when we look at our classrooms, like I said, that we teach in different contexts. Some of you teach in some remote kind of areas, others urban, peri-urban, depending on the location of your school. And they have different needs and they have different resources. So when we are talking about the reality of our classroom, look at the classroom at the school where you teach. And this is and you must very well understand that fostering an inclusive classroom is not an ideal, but it's a necessity. Our classrooms ought to be inclusive because we cannot say that we are offering quality education when our classrooms are not inclusive. The moment we are not inclusive, then we are not offering quality education and we are failing the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is inclusive quality education. So when we look at the reality of most of our classrooms, we are faced by different challenges. Others might be opportunities. For instance, overcrowded rooms, which restrict individual attention, the large classrooms. So offering one-on-one support when your one teacher might limit, if it's a large classroom, you're limited to offer one-on-one support. Then we have limited resources in terms of textbooks, maybe low-tech tools, and of course, we can't fail to talk about the diverse abilities and languages. For instance, I can talk about Uganda. Uganda has over 61 living languages. And you can talk about multi-ethnic groups that are in Uganda. So that means that in Uganda, most regions, in every kind of a region, every district, you find people with a different local language. And with emphasis on thematic curriculum at a lower level, you'll find that if you shift, for instance, you're teaching in this area, you go to another area, you'll find students speaking a different local language. So with all those languages in one classroom, it becomes a bit tiresome for a teacher to make sure that it is inclusive. However, like we've said, it's our duty as teachers that we should make this inclusive. Then the disabilities and difficulties. And when we talk about these disabilities, we shall talk about the impairments, learning impairments, sensory, the physical disabilities, and somehow the physical needs of learners may require adaptation, like we saw the classroom ropes for those that have wheelchairs, like we saw brailles for those who are visually impaired. And then the gender bias, the stereotypes and imbalance. Sometimes they can exclude the learners. The socioeconomic factors, poverty and lack of support at home may impact learners. I can give, for instance, in most of our UNELTA workshops, we had a workshop of recent in Central Region in Lukaya, and I asked the same question. For instance, when students are sent home to, because talking about Uganda, almost 60% of the schools are privatized. They're not government. And even those that are government aided, students need to pay some tuition and some fees to support their learning at school. So, and given the economy of the country, you may find maybe some students are given a cheat. They are told to go back home and collect part of the tuition. And as that, they end up missing part of the learning because when they are sent home to get school fees and tuition, it's not readily available home. So they take like a week or two at home. So by the time they come back, the teacher has been teaching for 2 weeks. That means the students have not learned. They have lost some content for those 2 weeks. So my question to you as teachers, how inclusive are you for those students who have been sent, who have been home for 2 weeks waiting for their for their parents to raise the tuition? In most cases, the teachers will continue teaching, but of course, we should go back and give that one-on-one peer support to these students who have been home, taking them through the work that you had already taught the rest of the students to make sure that at least they are at par with their fellows and their comrades for the work you gave when they were not available due to the socio-economic factors. So we have to be inclusive in our classrooms. We have to be empathetic to our learners. And the same people are saying large classrooms, large classrooms, large classrooms. How best can we use what is readily available to us to bridge the gap of the large classrooms or the overcrowded classrooms? Because in some parts of Africa, like I've been to Kenya, I've been to Uganda, I've been to Tanzania, I've been to Rwanda. In some of those parts, you don't see a solution that is coming nearby to deter the overcrowded classrooms. So that means as teachers, we ought to be innovative and use what is readily available to us and counter the overcrowded classrooms and make sure that at least every child is at par with whatever we are going through in the classroom to make it inclusive. Thank you.